this is Vinnie from Less Than Jake, and you're watching Amped Up TV.
From Amped Up TV, and I'm here with one of the members of Less Than Jake. I was wondering, what's your name and what do you play?
I am Vinnie. I play drums in Less Than Jake, as well as I provide like some sarcastic and witty banter occasionally inside of this bus that we're at.
Fun stuff. So for the few people that might not already know, what would you best describe your type of music as?
We are punk rock with influences of ska and influences of sort of 80s metal, because Chris, our guitar player, likes 80s metal. I'm personally not a big fan, but he likes like White Lion and Motley Crue and Dokken and Kix and, you know, some other bands that I don't remember, but always had big hair and tight pants.
And what would you say your influences were?
Let's see. Descendants, Crimp Shrine. I would go with Sweet Baby. I would go with anything from Lookout Records from about number 30 below.
Okay.
If anyone is familiar with Lookout Records, which you should be. It's Operation Ivy, it's Green Day, it's those bands. Great. Early Lookout Records, you should do it.
Okay, and talking about record labels here, I heard you guys just got off of yours and you just started a new one.
Yes.
With Sleeping It Off Records.
It's
How's that?
Sleep It Off.
Sleep It Off.
Since
Sorry.
I was chastised earlier.
Sorry.
I said Amped TV, but then Amped Up TV. So I have to go with, you know, Sleep It Off Records. That's what we're at.
And how did you guys come about with that?
You know, I think that we had been on Warner Brothers for a very long time. For 3 records, actually, and it was just the time to do something. I had owned previously Fueled by Ramen Records, which put out like Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco and a bunch of bands, and I had sold that a few years back, and it was just time to do something. Instead of going to another label and sort of following that music model, it was time to sort of step outside of the usual sort of business model and just do something ourselves. I think that's the way the music industry is going anyway. I think that labels sort of are just a conduit at this point anyway. I think that it's just a bank that's loaning bands to produce music. So if you have that ability to have the capital, then why go to a label? If you can, you know, pay for it to record and you pay for the press and you find a distribution company, why go to a label in that traditional scenario? So we stepped out and did Sleep It Off.
Awesome. And do you guys have...
I applaud myself.
That was awesome.
That actually was nice. It actually, I sounded intelligent for a second, and I really liked that. It was awesome.
You didn't sound, you are.
I was stoked about it.
Do you guys have any other bands that you're planning on getting on there?
Not yet, but we've considered doing that in the future, but just not now. We're in the middle of the Less Than Jake record cycle, so I think that once that's over with, we could start talking about having another band come out and maybe joining Sleep It Off. There's a few that I like, and we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next 6 to 8 months. It'll be all right.
Awesome. And you guys are just going to be off tour in December, right?
I'll tell you what exactly we're doing. We finish off the Canadian tour. We do a few dates to go back home. We have a few weekend dates in October. We leave October 31st, the night of, to go for a 2-week UK tour, then a 4-week European tour. We get back home December 13th, and then we're off until February, and then we start the cycle all over again. South America, Australia, Japan, another U.S. tour, and most likely Warped Tour, but I don't know, but most likely.
Awesome. And you guys were just on tour with Goldfinger before this.
We were.
Do you have any crazy stories from that tour there?
You know what? Here's the thing, is that Goldfinger don't like to eat meat, and John is a big PETA fan, but I like to eat meat. I'm going to be honest with you. I really, really, I like barbecue. I'm from the South. We're from Florida. And you know what? I like those guys, and they're cool dudes, and I like some of their tunes. But you know what? Crazy stories. I think that I would have to get crazy with a meat eater. There's no, like, I can't get crazy with someone who is a vegetarian. It just can't happen.
So your newest album is titled GNVFLA, and what is that short for the people who don't know?
Short for Gainesville, Florida. And it's funny because in Germany we were there, and sometimes they're like, your new record, Ginfla. And then you're like, no, it's not Ginfla, it's GNVFLA. It's actually, Gainesville, Florida. Oh, I see. So yes, Gainesville, Florida.
You guys have been together now for about 16 years.
Yeah.
Where, like, with all your tours that you've done, where's your favorite place to tour?
London and Tokyo. It's my two favorite places.
Why exactly?
I don't know. There's, like, cities that I think that, like, when you get there, there's, like, plenty to sort of, like, walk around and see and do. And I don't know why. There's some cities that, like, when I'm there, it feels more, I feel at more home, I guess, than other cities. Some cities you just kind of like have a stale vibe and like a weird environment, but Tokyo, there's so much going on and so much like visual like sort of craziness, and there's like a speed to the city that like I really enjoy. And the same thing that goes for London. There's like a speed to the city, and I'm not meaning like speed like cocaine or methamphetamine, but I mean like there's an actual like sort of pulse to the city that I really enjoy. So those two cities.
Awesome. And over the 16 years, which one would you say out of your 8 albums, which one is your favorite?
I always hate that because here's the thing. I used to be able to go, oh, Losing Streak was my favorite record, or Hello Rockview, and those two records are great. But I think that there's so many songs. I think that last count was like 135 songs that we wrote together. So it's not records anymore. It's songs that I really love. So like a song that I really love is like My Very Own Flag I love, or Great American Sharpshooter off Hello Rockview, or off this new record is Handshake Meets Poker Face, or Anthem would be Plastic Cup Politics. So I think it's there's so many records out right now that I don't really have a favorite, but I have favorite songs off a lot of records. So if I had to like cherry pick all the favorite songs, I can make like my most favorite record.
Awesome. And it's okay. What are your favorite, like, what do you guys find the most inspirational to find lyrics for, like, for songwriting?
You know what? Lyrics are a weird thing for me because I do them all for the band, but I play drums, and which is already sort of an unconventional way to do it. But for me, I collect, scraps of paper during years, and I kind of like, I'm sitting around like this afternoon, it could be like, oh yeah, and here's this like word or line or maybe 2 lines, and I kind of just jot it down in a notebook, and I have like stacks and stacks of notebooks, but like I just go and write it down, and I collect all these like little scraps of paper and little scraps of like sort of phrases and words. Then when it's time to go write a new record, I just bring all of that out and just put it on the table and go, oh yeah. And then when we're writing the music for it, sometimes there's songs so obvious titled, and I don't know why it is. It just matches up perfectly. If I look at it and go, oh, that would be perfect. It would be this song, And I don't know, man. It's like, it's one of those things where inspiration's family and friends and life and things like that. I mean, and life's have, it's the ups and downs and the peaks and valleys. And those are the things that I document and try to document. So I just kind of jot it down throughout the year or 2 years between records, and then I kind of collect all those thoughts together per song. It's a very weird process, but it's a cool process because when I look back on it, these like phrases, and sometimes I don't even remember when I wrote or why I wrote that particular thing, but it just kind of fits together in this like wacky puzzle, a few years after the fact. It's cool.
Awesome. And over the years, how would you say that the band and yourself have grown together?
You know, it's one of those things, like, I think that each record that goes by is a picture of the band. It's a snapshot. It's the same thing for you. At 13, someone took a picture of you, and that's who you were, you know? I think that records are the same way as the band. I think that for this new record, GNVFLA, that's who we are. That's the influence that we have as a band. I think that's the lyrical, you know, experiences that I've had and that we've had collectively. It's all rolled up in one. So I think that records, those are like little snapshots. With that said, I think that, you know, the biggest difference between who we were 16 years ago to who we are now is just that. It's just the experiences that we've had. We've toured more. We've been friends. We've had friends pass away. We've gotten married. We've gotten divorced. Not collectively, but you know what I'm saying. Like, so I think that it's just the experiences that you have that start to morph the person who you are and the people that we are and the relationships that we have. And as that goes along, you can never become like sort of the same person that I was 13 years ago because of all the experiences, you know? So that's how come when people go, well, you know, Less Than Jake, what's the influence? You just look at the record, you know? The record explains who we were at the moment that we wrote it and recorded it and what influence we had musically. So this record might have more ska, more horns on it, but that's who we are right now. In With the Out crowd, not so much. We kind of like blasted out, you know, out of the box of who people think we are. But that's who we were at that moment in time also. So you have to sort of just look at it like that. And I think that explains a lot. If you look at the record, it explains a lot about who we are as people, who we are as a band, what the influences are, what the experiences that we have.
Album sounds like it's amazing and everything. So if people do want to get a hold of you guys, what's the best link to get you guys at?
That would be myspace.com/Less Than Jake.
All right, well, thank you very much for your time. And this is Amped Up TV with Andrew with Vinnie from Less Than Jake.
Yes. And then our trombone player buddy, who was just in here playing like monkey face games earlier, he was like, really? I go, I have to buy it for Kyle, which we ate lunch with. We ate lunch prior to this, by the way, and it was very good. It was Soup Pierre, which is like a block and a half down the road, and I had chicken noodle soup, and it was great. And I had a sourdough and turkey sandwich, and I actually thought it was good.
It was wonderful. I had the same thing.
And,
so.
and expensive and quality food, so you should check that out sometimes. Soup Pierre, it's right around the corner. It's good. All right.